Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Palette Company, and Fresh and Faded Hair Studio.
Hello Lima, welcome to A Community Perspective. We certainly have an interesting show today. It's a show that many times is sort of surrounded by controversy. Sometimes it's surrounded by a divisive called race. Sometimes it's surrounded by, is it exist or does it not exist? What we're going to do is put some people on the hot seats today and talk about Lima's gangs. Does it exist? Does it not exist? And I can tell you, there's no better person in Lima, Allen County that we can put that question to who may be able to provide an answer. Somewhat the self-proclaimed expert on the gangs in Lima, but certainly if anybody knows what's going on in Lima, has watched some of the criminal activity on TV in terms of the court system, he is an expert witness to gangs, has been dialoguing about gangs probably as long as you can remember, and he's going to provide some insight in terms of how the gang system works in Lima. And I'm pleased to be presented with Detective Stephen Stechschulte with the Lima Police Department. Welcome, Detective.
Thank you.
I'm going to take some quick no-hold bar. We haven't had a chance to dialogue, and I did it intentionally. In other words, I want to get your reaction. I want to get the heart of what you're dealing with when you hit the streets and when you're talking about gangs. Does it exist? Does it exist, Detective? Does the gangs in Lima exist? First and foremost, I'm asking folks, and I've talked to people on the streets, and it seems to be a perception that it's only it's myth. It's only something that exists in people's minds. You tell us, somebody who's on the streets and dealing with it on a first-hand basis.
Yeah, gangs definitely exist. In fact, it's common in any urban area, whether it's a large metropolitan area or you're talking about a smaller city like we are.
And I'm going to get to the heart of that. In Lima, Ohio, Detective, are you dealing with gangs today as we speak?
Yeah, I've been dealing with gangs my entire career. I mean, from the time I came on in the early 90s, we had more traditional, what people would think about gangs as far as Blood, Crips, Folks. And then since that time, I mean, it's never really stopped. It's just kind of changed. It's kind of transformed into what we're dealing with today.
But people in Lima are certainly comfortable with the fact that Lima, and I wouldn't say maybe comfortable isn't the right word, Lima's kind of growing downtown. There's a lot of activity, a lot of businesses coming up, but the pushback is coming that the city, i.e. whoever that mythical city is not concerned about the growing violence in the community.
I guess my big thing is...
Tell me what you're thinking.
My thought is the guys that are responsible for trying to control this or to try to curb it, we are concerned with it. I mean, we have been. We haven't stopped. I've been working with gang members and doing crime fighting for over 25 years now. So the people that you need to be responsible as far as focusing on that, we are. As far as anybody that might be in other avenues, whether it be politics or even downtown growth, I mean, they don't have a firsthand knowledge of it, and we shouldn't expect them to understand it. And the good thing is, I guess, is if they're not concerned with it, that means that we must be doing something at least a little right. The fallback on that is if they're really not concerned with it. I mean, are they just turning a blind eye to it and trying to hope that it's not there?
And I think that leads me to, and I'm going to read something here, and this comes from you directly, and I want to get your feedback on it. People are afraid to acknowledge. This kind of leads to what you're saying. This is a quote from you, Detective. People are afraid to acknowledge the fact that it's gang activity, as opposed to labeling it as kids committing criminal acts. And it's just not that, Stechschulte says. Until we start to take a realistic approach toward it, it's never going to stop. We are too worried about hurting people's feelings. Tell me, Detective, who's the people that are worried about when you're trying to stop gangs?
Well, I've dealt...
Be honest, who are the people that you think are hiding under a blind eye?
I think it's a lot of times it's going to be the family members that are closely related to the people that are involved in gang activity. I've had my share of scrapes with politicians over the years, arguing back and forth as to whether we have gangs or not. I think it's just like this. If I have cancer, just because I'm trying to say I don't have cancer and I refuse to take the necessary steps to attack that cancer, it doesn't mean I don't have cancer. It just means that cancer is going to take me over, and then one of these days something really bad is going to happen, and I'm going to have to acknowledge that it was there. I'm saying take preventative steps, realize that there's a problem up front now, and take those necessary steps when it's I wouldn't call it smaller right now because we've ignored it for a while, but at least to where it's not, we're just totally gang ridden and you can't go anywhere, and we're like like a bad suburb of a huge city to where you're just not safe to walk in the streets.
And that makes sense, but I want to get back to the point, Detective, because I'm interested in your take because of the talent and the expertise you bring to the community. Here's another quote for you. For the size of city we are, talking about Lima, we've had a lot of violent crimes, and most of that violent crimes can be tied back to some type of activity with the gangs. So those shootings that are going on downtown Lima, those shootings that people are talking about on the Facebook post, whether you believe it or not, are tied to gang activity. Why don't you just eradicate the gangs? Why don't you develop, in terms of you and the law enforcement officers within the community of Lima, develop a task force and go after them? Why don't you just get rid of them?
Well, you have to be able to prove it, first of all. Just because I know someone is gang-related doesn't mean I can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in court.
I got you.
Secondly, you don't want to just go out and just do a huge roundup and not have it be effective. I mean, it's no different than if I go out and just make a big sting on drugs. I'm going to go out and hit every drug dealer I know at this time. Well, if they only have an F5 amount of drugs in their house at the time, it's going to be ineffective. You're going to make a lot of arrests, and it's going to look like we're really doing a good job. But realistically, an F5 can't go to prison. It's written in the law. So how effective will that be? I mean, they get another felony on their record, but it's not effective.
It's not effective.
I mean, I've had gangbangers or gang members, however you want to call it, threaten to kill me and my family, and as that threat, that's a criminal offense. And I've had other cops say, "Are you going to, charge them?" And I'm like, "To give them 6 months in jail? What good is that going to do?"
So and I'm going back to certainly the threats on your family's life, and I tried to get some gang members on the show, and I understand the sensitivity of even having that communication came back at me. Where does Lima gang members? Where are they? Where are they, Detective? Are they on Main Street? Are they on Market Street? Are they north? Do they have names? Can you put a face to them?
I can put a face to almost all of them, but there's, again, since the type of city that we are, I mean, we're, in essence, out in the middle of a bunch of cornfields. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We're not like your suburb where you're right on the edge of Columbus or Cleveland, so you can't push them back into the inner city.
Okay.
So they're all over the city. Anytime, and this is statistically, nationally, wherever you have a government subsidized housing complex, there's a probability that you're going to have some type of criminal or gang activity that goes on there. Well, we have government subsidized housing complexes all
scattered
over,
throughout.
and it's on the edges of the cities.
And that kind of discussion, I'm gonna stop you. That kind of discussion has to be had, if I can be grammatically incorrect. In other words, when you talk about subsidized housing, when you talk about neighborhoods that are at risk, talk about gang activity and the violent crime that exists within those confines needs to happen. Are you having those discussions, whether it's the subsidized housing, whether it's in certain pocket neighborhoods, about the increase in violence? Are you going into those areas and trying to eradicate those issues?
That is not my job. My job is to fight crime.
Is to fight crime.
And if there are criminal activity that goes on, and mainly violent crimes, what I've been handling the last several years, I do my job to try to stop the criminal activity and to send those through the court system and allow the court system to decide what's appropriate on how to punish them for the acts that they've done. Yeah, because I have to. My job is to basically protect everybody that's out here. I'm not a problem solver. Do I have my opinions and my ideas on what would work? Yes, I do. And I do relay those opinions to administrators and even government officials to tell them what I believe would work. But my job isn't to go out. In fact, frankly, I don't have time to go out and sit on these things and to give my input on it. And I'm a cop.
I hear that, Detective. Somebody tells me that there's 4 gangs in Lima or 3. Do you know how many gangs that consider themselves labeled as gangs? Am I asking law and order questions at you?
No. I mean, it depends on how you look. I can give you a number, and that may be an accurate number, may not be. But ours here in Lima basically come from 2 main larger gangs. We have East Side and North Side. There used to be West Side in there, but it's kind of East Side, West Side kind of go together. It's different. You can't just put a number on it. Now, I can, within those East Side, North Side, you've got the smaller sects that go in there. So I can tell you at least 3 or 4 on East Side and maybe 2 or 3 on North Side. So it just depends. There could be another one that comes up tomorrow because a group of kids that want to break free or have their own little section within that gang could call themselves McKibben Street Boys or anything like that.
That's interesting. I'm going to get back to that topic. We're going to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to ask the detective again, not putting him on the spot and understand the sensitivity, where some of the gangs exist, and how do we go back and look at those gangs and focus on problem solving. We'll be right back with you.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
Bloating for no good reason. Pelvic pain or pressure that doesn't go away and you don't know why. Feeling too full too fast, even when you eat just a little. Unusual bleeding or spotting, like between periods or after menopause. These aren't just words. They could be symptoms of a gynecologic cancer. If they last for 2 weeks or longer, see a doctor. It may be nothing, but find out. Get the inside knowledge.
Our lives have been turned upside down by COVID-19. When a vaccine becomes available, it's critical that all of us get it. What we do as individuals will impact everyone's health, including those who can't get the vaccine. We won't get through this unless everyone takes part. Now is the time to get up to date on all recommended vaccines for both kids and adults. Experts say it's more important than ever for everyone to get their flu vaccine this year. And if you're older, you should get both the flu and pneumonia vaccines, since both illnesses can make COVID-19 even worse. Vaccines are available at a lot of convenient places, so be an example for friends and loved ones and encourage them to get vaccinated too. We all want to reunite, travel, and get back to school and work. But that means we all need to get on board. This is the time to do what's right for each other. Get vaccinated. It's our best shot.
If you love concerts and live theater, going to baseball games, and eating in restaurants, inside, if you love parties and the small talk with the guy who makes you iced coffee the right way, then wear a mask and let's beat this virus so we can get back to the things we love. Mask up, America.
Welcome back to Hello Lima. We've had an interesting discussion here with the detective with the Lima Police Department, Detective Stephen Stechschulte. I left off talking about gangs and where are they located. You're saying that there may be 2 gangs in Lima, Detective. Can you expand on that a little bit? I think the community wants to know. Those of us, and I'm using us in the proverbial sense, those of us who are not in it every day. We kind of sit back and like, why? What is this all about? And we see it on TV, we hear about it. Where can we see the gangs?
Well, first of all, there aren't just two gangs. There's two main sides.
Okay, thank you.
And then there's smaller gangs. I mean, I liken a lot of stuff comparing it to football teams. So imagine this. You've got the NFL team, and then you've got their subsidiaries below them. They're smaller, the practice squads and stuff like that. Not saying that the other ones are different. It's just they're smaller groups that have a stronger tie to each other, either by relation or by geographic location.
Are they segmented by race? Do you have black gangs? I mean, are they all black gangs?
No, I mean, there's whites involved with it, there's Hispanics involved with it. We're not, see, here's the other thing with gangs. They're not territorial like they used to be back in the 80s. You're going to find them in a bigger city, maybe in LA, where they pretty much say geographic setting or territorial thing is a little bit more prevalent there, but you'll still have it in some of your other larger cities. But gangs, partially to combat law enforcement's efforts, have stayed mobile. I mean, they might stay in one area for a while, but also with where's the family living at? You know, if I live on 3rd Street and we've lived here for 5 years, okay, that might be where your house is that everybody hangs out at for 5 years. But now my parents are moving, and now we're going to go over here, and now we live on a different location, and we just changed.
Yeah. I'm jumping here because there's so much to cover, and you're bringing some interesting point. Are you saying that Lima, based on its rural location, and I'm going to get back to that because I thought that was interesting. There's no way for them to run. In other words, you can't push them anywhere to go to another city or go when you try to eradicate them.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it's harder.
It's harder
because people are linked here, and there's really not a lot of places for them to go. Like I can't just move to Whitehall if I'm living on West. You know,
I got you.
I can just move over there if I want to get away from that particular department or get away from this. So it's different because we're like out in the middle of nowhere. People a lot of times will come back to their home and they stay at their home. So that's why it's harder to push people out. It's no different than if I have a crack house, and I use crack, which isn't as prevalent as some of the other drugs now. But if I have a crack house and I'm down here and we start hitting crack really heavy in Lima, you're not going to push it out to the corner of Cool Road and 309.
I follow you.
Because there isn't a lot of foot traffic out there. It's like any business, location. So it just depends.
That's a good point. And I'm going to jump back on another subject here, when we talk about the fact that they exist and how do you're on the front line. And I have to admit, in my research, and you talk a lot about, hey, it exists and what can we do to what solutions would you have? I mean, if you were to take off your detective hat and say, man, this in Lima, these young kids are killing each other at a rate. And when I talk about a detective, I don't want to take your time because what you say is a lot more valuable than what I say. When I talk to people about this over the last couple of weeks, it seemed to be kind of flippant. In other words, as long as they're killing each other, follow me, detective, as long as the criminals are killing each other in terms of the retaliation, I don't have a problem with it. The NIMBY approach, as long as it doesn't affect my backyard, I'm hands-free. How do you see not only some solutions, but making people become more aware, more cognitive of the fact that we have to stop the crime?
Well, the big thing they need to realize is and there's been a lot of instances that we've dealt with. I mean, you're dealing with daytime crimes.
Yes.
I can think of one that happened in the daytime that's right next to a school.
Yes.
One that, of course, the one we just recently had up on North Cole Street, right next to a daycare,
Yes.
one of the busiest areas. I've had daytime shootings all over the place.
Yes.
So the other thing they need to understand is, like many of these shootings, very rarely do they hit what they're aiming at. I mean, there's a low statistic. If I'm shooting at that one guy and I fire off 8 rounds, unless I'm within a close distance, I'm not going to hit him 8 times. So if I hit him once, 7 others are going all over the place, and that could be your house or your neighbor's house. So that's how we need to take a realistic, aggressive approach at saying, we're done. We're not going to take this anymore. And the big thing is people need to not be afraid to step up. If I'm going to shoot somebody and I know that there's 15 witnesses out there and they're not afraid to step up and say, hey, this is what I saw and I'm going to take my community back, then I'm going to be less likely to take that shot.
That's a good point.
The other thing is they got to realize this isn't just an enclosed cage match where one we're firing and missing. The city would be outraged if a bullet goes through a house and strikes a small child and kills him, and rightfully so.
Right.
And that's a very good probability or possibility every time one of these rounds are fired.
And detective, that is happening. That may not be happening in Lima at a more pervasive rate, but it's happening in Columbus, it's happening in Cleveland. In other words, young kids that are innocent bystanders are getting killed. And I love the fact that you said that, and I want to sort of wrap things up by saying, take back our city.
Absolutely. And I will, I'll probably die trying this to do it. And I won't ever give up. Because I think if we really make a big impact, and the sentence that was given out on this latest one, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I can tell you,
Yep.
I do know that many of the people that are affiliated with gangs, they're worried about that. And that's one of those things. We have to have a deterrent. If when you're a kid, if you are told don't do this, and the punishment it doesn't make you afraid, you're not afraid of the punishment,
then it does
that's
become
not
a deterrent.
If you're afraid of the punishment, that's what's going to deter you.
So if we can say this, Detective, consequences have action, and you understand that there has a more possibility of stopping some of this. Can I say this? Are gang members young, Detective? Are these young black males for the most part in terms of statistical analysis?
From my own experience,
Yes, I want to hear it.
I've found them as young as 11, all the way up to your late 20s.
In the city of Lima?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I've handled homicides where it was done by a 13-year-old, 15-year-olds, stuff like that. Your younger ones, a lot of times, seem sometimes a little more apt to shoot because they don't realize the consequences. In fact, if you look at the juvenile justice system as a whole and how we do things, we try to start out things trying to teach them.
At a young age.
What I think we're doing is we're doing the exact opposite of what we need to do. We need to show them early and show them young that there are strong consequences to what you've done, and this is what's going to happen. Instead, what we do is we try to give them 15 chances here and there, and it's almost like Pavlov's dog theory, and we're training them the wrong way.
Good point.
And I just think that we need to take a hard, realistic approach and to just treat these kids. They want to act like adults. They want to do adult things. Treat them like adults so they realize this isn't something I want to live with my whole life. Give them that opportunity when they're young to realize I don't like these consequences. I'm done, and I'm going to start doing stuff differently.
Wow, that is some good stuff. And I appreciate the detective being honest, and I'm trying not to put him on the spot, but he certainly was articulate about what he's dealing with and what we in Lima can do. And one of the things he talked about is that we can step up and take back our city. We're going to take a break here, joined by one of the council members, and we're going to put him on the spot also and ask him what he's doing and how he's looking at this gang problem in the city of Lima. Thank you, Detective.
You're welcome.
Be right back.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
Our barbers and cosmetologists are licensed professionals who specialize in all phases of hair. Whether you are getting a line-up, cut, beard trim, or design, our barbers will help create your unique style. With full-time cosmetologists, also taking appointments and walk-ins from lashes, presses, color, wax to braids, and weaves, Fresh and Faded cosmetologists do it all. Call us for an appointment today. Fresh and Faded Unisex Hair Studio, the largest shop in Northwest Ohio. 419-221-FADE.
If you ain't fresh, you ain't faded.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I must give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
If you could do just one simple thing to protect the people you love from getting sick, would you? If we all wear masks while we're in public, we can keep our families safe from the coronavirus. You've already made a lot of sacrifices, but this one is easy, and it will make a difference. It doesn't matter where you live or who you voted for. If you wear a mask, you will help save lives.
Kids dream big. As parents, it's our job to make sure nothing gets in the way of those dreams. Like human papillomavirus, a common virus that can cause cancer later in life. But there's a vaccine that prevents HPV and the 6 types of cancer it can cause. A vaccine that helps protect their dreams. Get your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at 9 to keep cancer out of their futures.
Welcome back to Hello Lima. It certainly has been an interesting topic. We're joined now by somebody who's certainly, as they say, boots on the ground, walking the grounds, been in the streets. And we talk about gangs in Lima, and we talk about how it's impacting not only the community, but impacting the lives of young people, impacting the lives of people in general. There's no better person that we can get firsthand information from than Dr. Derry Glenn, councilperson Dr. Derry Glenn. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you.
One of the things, and we want to be sort of frank here, and certainly you never shy away from what I call being honest, frank, as well as telling people what they need to hear as opposed to what they want to hear. Does Lima have a gang problem?
Well, some people say no.
So I'm asking you, as an elected city official, can I put you on the spot?
You can put me on the spot. I can say I've seen some activity. But when you say a gang problem...
Okay, let me preference this, Doc. And one of the things, Dr. Glenn, I want to make sure that you hear me out, is that I want to know from the listeners who are asking and dialoguing, this rise in violent crime, I'm hearing it from the Lima Police Department, I'm hearing it from residents who are trying to develop businesses in downtown Lima, is a concern of theirs. This concern has to be addressed at some point.
Right.
And COVID-19 and everything else people want to blame things on isn't what's triggering this increase in youth violence.
Right.
And what I'm hearing from the detective, it can be tied back to gang activity, most of the violent crime. And the detective says, and then I'm going to be done here, is that the problem is the politicians like to play the blame game. Those who want to talk about it and those who choose not to talk about it. So if I talk to Dr. Glenn and say, are you afraid by saying there's a gang problem in your ward, in the city, because it's going to affect the number of votes that you get? Can I be that honest?
No, it will not.
I'm asking you now.
No,
speak your mind.
It will not. When you say, I worked in the system 30 years.
Yes, you have.
In the prison system.
Yes, you have.
That had opportunity to work on gang task force. When the gang problem was really bad in Lima, I was involved in it.
Yes, you have.
What we have now, now don't get me wrong, it can be some gang problems. In my area now, people got to understand, I have 2 areas now. I have the south side and the west side. So the 6th Ward run over to the south, the west side. Lakewood, State Street, Frog Street, Nye. Then I go to the other side, 4th Street, 3rd Street, 5th Street, 10th Street. So when I represent, I got to make sure that we're looking at different areas of the town, because I represent the biggest area in the city.
All right.
So
good point.
So when you look at a gang, now you got to be very, very, the definition of a gang, we have 5 or more people wearing the same shirt. Is that it? So people got to understand that. Or 5 other people together, just sticking around. Or my fraternity we all come together. It's real gang. So you got to be very careful how you identify gang, because that can bring higher crime on you. So I'm not afraid to say if I got a gang problem. Yes, I had a gang problem 5 years ago. Yes, I had a gang problem 10 years ago. And if you go back to the newspaper, you'll see I was bringing them up. Guys wearing the same thing. It's very hard to identify a gang, because most of the guys can say, well, we wear our same shirts. You know, we hang out together. You see young ladies wear the same, when they was younger, they used to wear the same clothes. So we got to be very careful how we identify. I'm not afraid to say if I have a gang problem. Because I want the police department and everybody to help me. Because I'm trying to tell the young guys, stay out of that. Man, you know, you get a lot of time in prison just for wearing them colors, saying you're a part of something, you know.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
So you got to watch it now. Some of these guys take it another step, saying we friends. So that's what I'm saying. We got to be very, very careful how we can identify a gang. What's the definition of a gang?
Okay, so if we tap dance around the syntax discussion of the word gang and just say the violent crime that's rising in Lima, Ohio. Violent crime. I'm hearing it, and you're hearing it, and you're having reporters coming in from big cities talking about Allen County and pinpointing Lima's violent crime. Throw out the word gang. What are you doing as an elected official to address what many people were feeling is an increase in violent crime in Lima, Ohio?
Well, they might hear me a lot of times saying, where are the guns coming from? Where are the guns coming from? When they come out from the fairground there? Yes. I got kids saying they go out and buy guns. They can go out there and buy them a gun. Nobody want to hear about that because they're dealing with guns. They're dealing with sales. They're dealing with them saying, oh no, Derry Glenn trying to tell us that we selling guns out here. Well, that's what we got to find out first, where the guns coming from. Okay, let's fix that problem. No one want to fix it. No one want to fix it.
Nobody wants to fix it.
I've been arguing about that all the time, saying, why are we not going out to that fairground when a young kid told me 19 years old, I can buy many guns I want, Dr. Glenn. I can buy many guns I want. You got guys come from over and selling them guns. They know the problems that's there. So we got to find them with a gun.
Dr. Glenn, you've been outspoken, and you can call it a gun issue, and certainly access to guns is an issue. But you've been out, Dr. Glenn. Young black kids are being shot and killed in Lima at an alarming rate. It's 2021. You say it for the most part. So saying access to guns is an issue. But what this issue, particularly affecting our community, is troubling.
Right. It's very troubling. We right now been a small community where we got over 8 murders already. Okay, that's come from that we not stepping up. Our community's not stepping up. And I tell folks, I can't do this by myself.
But Dr. Glenn, we need
to come out and step up, talk to these kids, find out. We got family members. I have family members.
Yes.
I have 10 family members been dead by a bullet. 10. Not 1, not 2, 10. Been shot and killed by a bullet.
So and I appreciate your passion for this, and I appreciate, and that's why I brought you on the show, because I think our listeners want to hear straight hand those who have been out there fighting this for a decade at least. I'm concerned about the increase that is happening. So if we have 8 to 10 murders, and some say it's 10 because a couple of them haven't been identified as being murders. So if we're at this pace already, this is starting to become an issue, and I'm beating a dead horse by saying there's a concern in the community. People like you, Doc, have got to make sure that you're out there and you're having these hard discussions with today's youth, and you're not having these discussions with today's youth, and I don't want to talk this up. This is an adult problem, Doc. This is an adult problem, yes, Dr. Glenn.
Yes, it is. It's our problem, our community problem here. Until we come together as one in our community, we got to come together. This is all of our problem. This is not Derry Glenn problem. This is not Jerome O'Neal problem. It's not Mayor Berger problem. It's not Chief Martin problem.
It's
our problem.
I like that.
Yes, it's our problem.
And I like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here. And Dr. Glenn talks about it's our problem. We heard from Detective Stechschulte. He said we have to take back our city. We're going to put him on the spot and ask him, will he go out of here today and make a change that's needed? And we're going to ask him about that change when we come back. Don't go away.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
We are not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters in rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop or accept anything less.
We are deserving.
When we compete, we're fighting for a more inclusive world.
We are champions on the field and for this cause.
Today, our world is more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
Revolution is inclusion!
And it's not optional.
The only choice you need to make is how you'll join it.
It's me. The one person you can't get a break from. It's hard when it's this quiet in your room. But when you woke up this morning, you smiled. Yes, today feels like a good day. Comes to a close, don't forget there's one more person you need to thank. You. And let me be the first to say it. Thank you for making me feel okay, alone.
Welcome back to Hello Lima. And you can hear the passion in Dr. Glenn's voice. You can hear the frustration in Dr. Glenn's voice. And that's what I want our listeners to hear, Dr. Glenn. I want to hear, because if you're going to change Lima, and you brought it up very eloquent, which means we have to understand this is a we problem. Can you expand on that again? Because I think that hits the nail on the head.
Well, I expand on it a little bit more. When I say it's a we problem, we all got to come together and sit down at the table.
Black, white, Republicans, Democrats,
all of us got to come together.
Folks, white folks, black folks,
yeah.
All of us is
all
what
of
you're
us
saying, Dr. Glenn. Because
you have separate groups here. You had the NAACP over there. You had a Black Minister Alliance over there. You had a mayor group over here. Mm-hmm. You had a commissioner group over there. It takes all of us to save our city. This is our city. Mm-hmm. This is our city. This is what pays our bill, even though you don't live in this city. You have a part of the city when you get an income from this city.
Right, doctor.
So please, that's what we need to do until we all come together. And the young folks seeing us separately right now. They seeing that, well, Derry out there by herself, they must don't care. Well, Jerome out there by herself, they must don't care about us. When they see us having feuds between one another,
then it just
that just continue making the problem even occur. Then we got to look into these family problems. We have a lot of young parents, and people don't realize that. A lot of young parents trying to raise these kids, these boys up, you know. Like I tell them, we got to be mentors. We got to reach out to these kids.
And I'm going to back up and hold you there. Dr. Glenn, you've seen, right? This isn't a problem. These aren't 30, 35-year-old violent criminals. These are young kids.
These are young kids, right. These
11, 13, 14, right. 15, 17.
And these are young kids. And they asking for help. Some of them be asking for help. They want to find a way to get out.
You're hearing from them.
Hearing from them. When I walk around the South End, the East End, South End, when I talk to people in Walmarts, they ask for help. Mr. Glenn, could you help me with a job? Could you do this? Could you help me with my work? They don't understand. Some of them work. Some of them out for the COVID-19. Mom don't know how to do it. We're not even trying to fix that problem. I try to get some computers to them. You know, it takes more than me trying to hand them some computers, you know, find computers to help. The parent can't help out with the homework, work so hard, you know.
And you're not stretching there.
No.
This stuff is, they're dots that connect in this.
It's all connected, and with the disturbance we having. When he's 15 years old, he ain't got to go to school now. He's doing it on the computer. So he go out when he want to. This all come about the violence. To take time out to see he hanging out with Junebug over here now.
Right,
while he should be in school, but he ain't got to be in school due to the COVID-19. He at home doing his work, but he ain't doing no work.
And so I'm hearing you, and I know we're talking because there's just so much to get over.
It's so much.
You're bringing a good point, but I want to come out of this with some solutions. Okay. So you're saying, though, as this COVID's hitting, as these kids who are not being watched, and is there a solution? In other words, what can the city do? What can you do? What can we do?
What can the city do? What can we all do? Is first of all, we need to sit down, make a plan. If we ain't got no tutors there for them parents, we need to do something about it. We need to hire some tutors to help them out with it, because some of the grandparents are keeping these kids.
Raising kids.
Raising kids. Yeah, a 75-year-old got 3 kids at the house. She don't know nothing about that computer.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know much about it. I got to have help myself. So them are some of the things we got to look at. First, we go back to the basic, then work our way there. But we can fix this problem. And stir it up and put all that in the soup. This is what we're doing. It's called a soup. Start with that. Education. Because we're gonna be 5 years behind already. Already 5 years behind. But we got to step up and do something about it. We got to save our babies. These are our babies. So he don't have the trigger to go to a gang or, oh no, my son ain't no gang. How they identify a gang? We shouldn't have to worry about that problem. We shouldn't worry about that. We shouldn't have this discussion right now.
Dr. Glenn, who do you think could bring the parties together? And I'm using parties in the mythical term of who can bring everybody to the table and say, let's just talk. This problem is not going to solve itself.
Right.
They're shooting each other yesterday, the day before, next weekend there'll be one probably this weekend coming up. How do we come together?
First of all of us got to come together first. We got to fix the wheel first. The wheel been flat for a long time.
Is it a black issue?
No, it's all of our issue. It's all of our issue. Black, white, all the professionals, all the people's empowered.
And I like that, and I want to stop you there because when I talk about this, Doc, they're telling me, Dr. Glenn, that, well, as long as they're killing each other, the NIMBY approach, follow me? If it's not in my backyard, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. Can I say that, Doctor?
It's coming. It's coming to a neighborhood near you. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. It's coming to a neighborhood near you. Don't wait to try to fix the tire when it comes to you. Let's get it fixed now. But we got to come together first. You know, a kid told me, "Oh, you don't."
What did he tell you?
The kid told me, "You don't get along with the pastors." I said, "I do get along with the pastors. I do." Well, because he heard something. So if that kid got that in mind, how can I talk to little Johnny and try to stop little Johnny
when we're arguing?
When I'm arguing with them. When I'm arguing with the mayor. When I'm arguing with the commissioners. How I'm gonna fix the problem? So please, let's come together and save our babies.
This isn't the 80s. This isn't the 70s. Kids see what they see now. Kids have access to information. They know what they're looking at.
Yes, my kids grown and gone and been successfully doing what they're doing. But no. These my family. I got cousins, nephews, everything out here. Like one lady said, "Why are you doing this, Derry? You got your kids just gone." No, whatever happened to your grandbaby? But we got to come together.
Dr. Glenn, people have to realize when we talk about it's coming to a neighborhood near you, and we can be flippant with that kind of conversation, but there's some truth to it. It's also the crime is happening also more in daylight. It's happening off of Main Street.
Right.
In other words, you don't have to stretch this imagination by saying it's coming to your neighborhood.
Right.
It's there.
It's there. It's there.
In Lima, Ohio, it is now in our neighborhood.
And then we got to sit down. Us got to sit down. The professionals, and fix this flat.
Because
and let the kids know we together, we fixing it. Then they'll feel better about when we sit there and talk to them. They'll sit down. I can't talk to them. I can talk to ones I know real well.
Yeah.
And say, hey guys, but no, we need everybody to help out. We need everybody to pitch in. We have a job program together. All of us can come together and fix it. Just like my friend said in Chicago, what they trying to do. They have a murder every hour. Yeah, Chicago big in Lima, but we're a small community. Got 8 murders already.
So as a percentage, that's just as bad. Because we're going to take a quick break here. Don't go away.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
Our barbers and cosmetologists are licensed professionals who specialize in all phases of hair. Whether you are getting a line-up, cut, beard trim, or a design, our barbers will help create your unique style. With full-time cosmetologists, also taking appointments and walk-ins from lashes, presses, color, wax to braids, and weaves, Fresh and Faded cosmetologists do it all. Call us for an appointment today. Fresh and Faded Unisex Hair Studio, the largest shop in Northwest Ohio. 419-221-FADE.
If you ain't fresh, you ain't faded.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food, from responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. If you've put off doctor visits during the pandemic, now is a good time to call your pediatrician and get caught up. Children and teens need regular checkups with their doctor to make sure their development is on track, to talk about nutrition and behavior, and to get the vaccines they need to stay healthy. It's safe and your pediatrician wants to hear from you. For more on children's health during COVID-19, talk with your pediatrician or visit healthychildren.org.
At the Boy Scouts of America, our oath remains: a Scout pledges to be kind, helpful, and brave. We're committed to providing a safe and welcoming environment where Scouts can establish the foundations of character that will last a lifetime. Our approach ensures the Boy Scouts of America is building the youth of today into the leaders we'll turn to tomorrow. The Boy Scouts of America. Building character is in our nature. Visit scouting.org to learn more about Scouting.
And as we wrap this up, and we appreciate Dr. Glenn, and if we're going to have this dialogue and we're going to have these outcomes, we have to do what Dr. Glenn says. We have to come together. The division that is happening with the leaders in Lima is troubling. And the kids that are looking at this are wondering to themselves, if you guys can't get along, how are you going to ask us to be part of the solution? And I am saying to the city of Lima, I'm saying to the county, I'm saying to the county commissioners, and we even had trouble booking this show. Follow me, doctor? We even had trouble getting a setting, whether it's in the city hall. We had trouble just by sitting down and saying, can we have this open discussion? And I'm asking the city, and I'm asking the community, and I'm asking the commissioners to listen to Dr. Glenn, listen to Detective Stechschulte, and say, how do we come together? How do we solve a problem, as Dr. Glenn pointed out, and he's been doing it a lot longer than most average adults been fighting this issue. How do we solve this problem before it comes to a neighborhood that you know and you love? Thank you. Hello, Lima.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
You are the center of a universe. That's what we've learned in 160 years serving our community. Everybody means the world to someone. So when you're in here, or if someday you find yourself in here, and when all you can think about is the world that revolves around you, we'll be a world that revolves around you too. Mercy Health. Healthcare for the universe of you.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
I thank God for my life and for the stars and stripes. May freedom forever fly. Let it ring. Salute the ones who died, the ones that give their lives so we don't have to sacrifice all the things we love. In my house, it's not much to talk about, but it's filled when love is grown in southern ground.
Best seat in the house.
You know, well, I'm a ticket right.
Thanks. No, thank you. And welcome home.
It costs so little to teach a child to love, and so much to teach him to hate. These simple but profound words from our founder have been guiding Boys Town in our work with kids and families for over a century. Today, the ideals of equality and respect are at the core of each parenting strategy you'll find at boystown.org/parenting. Whether you're a parent, grandparent, or guardian of a toddler, teen, or someone in between. We've got parenting guides, articles, videos, tools, and quick tips on a variety of subjects, all developed with love by Boys Town's experts.
Teach me respect.
Teach me patience.
Teach me kindness. Teach me love.
Visit boystown.org/magnet today to receive your Teach Love Magnet. It's a great reminder that the change we want to see in our world begins at home, and Boys Town is there to help along the way.
Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Palette Company, and Fresh and Faded Hair Studio.
Our lives have been turned upside down by COVID-19. When a vaccine becomes available, it's critical that all of us get it. What we do as individuals will impact everyone's health, including those who can't get the vaccine. We won't get through this unless everyone takes part. Now is the time to get up to date on all recommended vaccines for both kids and adults. Experts say it's more important than ever for everyone to get their flu vaccine this year. And if you're older, you should get both the flu and pneumonia vaccines, since both illnesses can make COVID-19 even worse. Vaccines are available at a lot of convenient places, so be an example for friends and loved ones and encourage them to get vaccinated too. We all want to reunite, travel, and get back to school and work, but that means we all need to get on board. This is the time to do what's right for each other. Get vaccinated. It's our best shot.
Thank God for my life, and for the stars and stripes. May freedom forever fly. Let it ring. Salute the ones who died, the ones that give their lives, so we don't have to sacrifice all the things we love. In my house, it's not much to talk about, but it's filled when love is grown in southern ground.
Best seat in the house.
You know, well, I'm a ticket guy.
Thanks. No, thank you. And welcome home.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
At the Boy Scouts of America, our oath remains. A Scout pledges to be kind, helpful, and brave. We're committed to providing a safe and welcoming environment where Scouts can establish the foundations of character that will last a lifetime. Our approach ensures the Boy Scouts of America is building the youth of today into the leaders we'll turn to tomorrow. The Boy Scouts of America. Building character is in our nature. Visit scouting.org to learn more about Scouting.
Our fight against coronavirus isn't over. Let's wear face masks in public. Stay 6 feet or more from others. Follow state and local guidelines. And wash our hands frequently. Let's move forward together. Learn more at coronavirus.gov.